morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel L. Connon. Welcome to Premarket Info.
Well, on today's show, we do have the S&P futures bouncing here this morning after selling off again yesterday. So we had the 2-day sell-off, but getting a bit of a bounce this morning. We're going to analyze the tapes on Apple, Google, and Facebook. Tempur-Pedic is buying Sealy for $2.20 a share. Nike and Research in Motion report earnings tonight. Walgreens reports earnings tomorrow morning. And the home builders are not feeling the love from Susquehanna. Joel, how was your day off?
Well, it was the Day of Atonement and fasting, so, how much fun can
Sounds
it be?
rough.
But, yeah, nice holiday with the family, but at least we got to see the Tigers catapulted in the first place.
Yeah, nice to see the Tigers hold on. They pulled a clutch win out there last night. Dirks breaking up a double play in the 8th for the win, and then Cleveland helped us out beating the White Sox. So the Tigers are in first by themselves. And when is the last time they were in first by themselves? They were tied when they played Chicago there about a month ago, but they never got ahead.
I think it was the first couple weeks of the season.
It has been a long time. So key time to get in the first. So go Tigers. We got, 7 games left?
Yep.
That's key.
So what did you do to the market when I was gone here? You got us down here at 1435 on Tuesday. We took out that 1443 and a quarter level, the low from last week. That was something that we had been looking for. And then 1428, that was the low on Fed Day. So basically what you're telling me is that QE3 is going to do nothing.
Well, we've bounced back though, so QE3 may still be in play, but there's definitely a shakeout for the longs here happening, and I think you might have seen a little bit of the washout there yesterday. It felt a little bit like a washout early in the morning, where they just came in, started selling them off. I mean, they sold Apple off $12. It bounced. The Google chart was absolutely crazy. That thing was down $10 at one time, and then it proceeded to rally 20 points mid-morning into the afternoon before giving back about half of those gains and then closing at 753.
Yeah, I mean, it's just lack of liquidity here in a stock. I mean, if someone comes in to sell 10,000 shares, I mean, it could knock it down 20 points. But I mean, for long-term investors that have sat this entire Google wave out, yesterday's close was the highest close, 753.46. Trading above that smartly in the pre-market. I guess you just have to keep your eye on that level today. Be a good swing level.
Tape still looks strong overall. I love seeing that thing lead the charge back there mid-morning and getting as strong as it did. And it's up another $5 here this morning. So Google's tape still looks good to me. I'd love to see it get above the high from 2 days ago, the intraday high, which was 764.89. Just get always scared that it puts in a double top and doesn't get above it. But so that's a key number I'd be looking at. Hopefully it can get above there to continue the move up with Google. What about the Apple? The Apple showed some significant weakness there yesterday. It did bounce a bit when the Google was bouncing in the mid-morning. The stock made a bottom. Apple got down to, what did it get down? 661? And then bounced all the way up into the 672 area. So you got an 11-point bounce. So you had, boom, you washed out 12 points, bounced back 11, and then it started to drift down towards the end of the day, but didn't close strong.
Well, if you want to get an update on some fundamental news, my wife is keeping the black phone.
She's keeping so she's settling for the black phone. What color did she want?
She wanted white, which
white shows too much dirt anyways.
Yeah, I mean, same here. I don't buy white anything.
No, my white. That's why I don't buy a white car either. It shows too much dirt.
Exactly.
Although black does too on cars.
So the update now is it's going to take over. Originally, it was 2 weeks to get her a white phone, and now it's over a month.
Really?
So perhaps those workers in China were fighting over Lisa's white iPhone or something, or maybe one guy wanted to make some more. But we did get an excellent sell-off in the stock. We did get to 661.20 yesterday, not recovering quite as much as the broad market this morning. Trading right at the pre-market high here, right around the 668 level. That should be some resistance. And then really nothing up there until Wednesday's high is 672.69. So if you're trying to wiggle out of a long, that should be a good level. And looking at the pre-market low not too long ago, 663. at around 7 o'clock.
Facebook had the washout through 20. I kind of was saying that on the show. You often see this, the high frequency traders and the overall market. They'll take you through a key number, shake everybody out, and then rally it back through that number. And that's exactly what they did. They took Facebook down just below 20, got down as low as 19, I think 85 or 1980, and then bounced, hung out at 20 for a little bit, but then really started to rally in the afternoon and closed pretty strong. And it's following through here today too. There. 2090 is where it's trading this morning after closing 2062. So Facebook looks like it could have put in a little temporary bottom there at that 1980.
I think what you had yesterday was once we cracked that 2022, 2036 levels, kind of been a double bottom. You cracked 20, and what I think might have happened is everyone was waiting for the gap to fill, because we do have a gap to fill down to 1958. So probably everyone was lining their bids up there. Hey, we're only 22 cents away. I'm going to get it. And then sure enough, it turned around. Bids started coming in. Yeah. So, man, that's too bad. I would have really liked to see it get down to that 1950 level, fill the gap from the Zuckerberg sayings. But what can you do? You just have to keep an eye right around yesterday's highs where we're trading, which is 20.78. We've exceeded that in the pre-market. The next resistance point after that is 21.21, and that's a two-day high. So I think you can get a little bounce up to that area, and then be important to see what happens after that.
Research in Motion had a pretty decent day yesterday too, rallying for the majority of the day. This has had a great couple of days really, after bottoming at 623 there on just a few days ago. Been straight up since, got up to $7 to close on the button. Trading 708, does report earnings tonight, so some people are anticipating that the earnings might be okay here. It's a nice bounce, but that's all I can really say about it. It's a nice bounce.
Yeah, 3 straight up days here. 3 higher highs, 3 higher lows, 3 higher closes. It might not be so much people looking for good earnings, it's just that people have been short this thing forever and their brother. Why take excessive risk, going into the earnings? I mean, anything can happen. I mean, even stocks like Green Mountain Coffee have bounced at bottom. So probably have a little shorts, little bit nervous here. Trading right near yesterday's high, which was 709, so that's going to be a minor resistance point. Once you get above that, you have a high at 722. That'd only be a minor resistance, but going back on the 19th, you had a high at 748. So a little bit of short cover here going into earnings. And did they come out with a new product this week, a pad or something, or am I making that
up? I
haven't
even seen any smartphones, though. I think that's what the market would rather have, is a smartphone, but I don't know. I cannot get bullish this stock, though, going ahead of earnings. But the only thing is the last 3 or 4 times they have disappointed. Just the numbers say eventually they're going to actually not disappoint the market. If you're going with the trend, I guess you sell it before the earnings report, because they always seem to disappoint. But, trends are made to be broken too, and I think eventually here this company actually might say something okay. It's more probably even their language than their numbers, and just where their direction is heading. So the conference call is key for the research in motion too, but it's tough to play. It's tough to play it ahead of earnings because it's more of a coin flip. You could say it has gapped down the last few times on those earnings, but I still think it may surprise. Maybe it surprises.
I still have mine.
You still have yours. You're still holding on to your BlackBerry. So,
but what the funny thing is that I wasn't big on the BlackBerry Messenger. I had a few people on there, and all the people I had on there switched to iPhones. So I don't.
So you don't have any friends on the BBM thing anyway.
Not that I had that many to begin with. But what else are we looking at?
Tempur-Pedic is buying Sealy, so buying double Z there for $2.20 a share. Interesting enough, trading at $2.25, so I don't know if they're going to sweeten the bid or not. Who had this note? It started running up from September when it bottomed at $155. It's been straight up since then. So I think there's a few people that were tipped off that this acquisition was going to happen, because it's been a heck of a run going into this. I don't know, was this rumored? I never heard it rumored. Maybe it was.
No,
Maybe this was
no.
rumored.
Maybe you were sleeping.
Maybe I was sleeping, or maybe some just some privileged participants have the news ahead of time. But regardless, the stock has had a nice run up. I mean, it's 220. There's not much to say about that unless they get a sweeter bid. TPX though, there's a stock that has been selling off the
Oh, ugly.
exact opposite chart for the last month. It's getting a bounce here, so they must think they're getting good value here on the Sealy. It's trading at 29.17 the TPX this morning, which puts it up about $2.50.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the first thing looking at this daily chart, and I'm just going back here to April. Was there a reverse split in here or something, or like
No,
not a reverse split, but a stock split or something? Because look at this
no.
thing. I think this is a good thing for investors and traders to look at. You know, a stock can go up for years and years and years and rally, and then you just get some bad news, and look what
Continues to
happened.
punish.
Yeah. Look what
Wow.
happens in a couple months. So
Boom.
you are getting a nice bounce here in the pre-market, topping out right here at 29 and a quarter. Going back to the dailies, you just have a bunch of lower highs to deal with. I think I'll keep an eye perhaps on this 30.01 level. That's the 3-day high. Above that, things are pretty wide open. But getting a nice bounce here. Not a ton of volume associated with this move. So if you are buying this one off the open and you don't get some immediate follow through, you might want to look for an exit.
$30 is a big hole number two on this, and the high from the 24th was 30.01, so I'd keep an eye on that. Use that maybe for a bogey. If it starts to take that out, I'd get nervous if I was short, but if you were shorting ahead of that, never know, that 30 number could hold. Just don't let it start cutting through there. Nike reports tonight here, Joel. We should give a little bit of technicals for our Nike traders out there. It is trading up a bit here in the pre-market on very light volume, only 200 shares, but trading at 96, so it's up with the overall market. There's a couple bottoms there. Maybe it's put in a double bottom here?
Well, you got a couple bottoms and you got a couple tops
Yeah, you
here.
do actually.
Yeah, I'd keep a real close eye. You've had three highs, 96.21 up to 96.35. You got a triple top there. You're only trading 30 cents away from that in the pre-market. I would look at that as resistance. Above that level, it opens up to the 97.50 area. Looking on the downside, I do see the 94 low and the 94. 33 low, so I think the stock will trade within that range today. No one making big bets going ahead of earnings. Let's just keep in mind, last time this company had earnings, they weren't good.
No, boom.
A
They
big
rocked them.
drop, but
Yep.
lo and behold, folks, that was the bottom.
Yeah, sometimes you
So
get those washout days when the market it's just a capitulatory move. Everybody gets out. Oh, their earnings are tail. I want out, and it drifted down into it. So it really was a capitulatory move, and it came back and ran all the way back up. I think $100 is a key number,
yeah,
psychological. That's where it topped out really in early September. You could say got a little bit above it, but really $100 is the bogey on this. I think that's where it might run into trouble if they report a decent report, and if they don't, well, you know what can happen. It can fall in a hurry. So Walgreens reports here too. They report tomorrow morning. The stock actually had that nice gap up back in July. Has been consolidating here for quite some time in the 36 area. Where is this one heading? It looks pretty good on the chart. The consolidation.
it Yeah, boy, that gap underneath scares me.
Scary, yeah.
But yeah, I keep a double top, 36.33 to 36.40. That coincides with all these highs that you had back in August after the gap up. So it looks like someone's just trying to get out of this stock here ahead of earnings. Above that, you have a high at 36.85 going back in August. Coming back on the downside, minor support at 35.11 to 15. That was a double bottom there. Below that, you will look at the 34.63 handle. But wow, I mean, for a low beta stock, I mean, this is one funky looking chart, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's just that big move. I mean, really, the last month and a half, though, it has been pretty low beta there. I don't know how you get really lower. It's had a lot of little, like 20, 30 cent range days here. But this stock can move on earnings. I've seen it in the past move, so don't think this is only going to move 50 cents out the report. If they beat pretty good or if they miss pretty good, this thing can have a $2 move. It's got that capabilities in there. The home builders are all getting downgraded here by Susquehanna today. So Susquehanna not liking the charts, I guess. We were saying the home builders were starting to show some weakness. They're downgrading Len. They're downgrading Toll Brothers. They're downgrading DHI. I guess they're saying that the top is in the home builders and look out below.
Yeah, boy, it looks like they might have started doing a little bit of selling yesterday here in this Lennar. Just a bad day for that stock. Down over a buck on the day, almost $2. Getting more follow through in the pre-market. Looking at the pre-market activity, just spotty trades here. 34.46 has been the low. Going to the chart here, I like this 33.81 number. That was a low back on September 13th. And coming back on the upside, boy, I tell you, there's a lot of air going up to yesterday's high. But I first look at these bottoms that we cut through yesterday at 35.33, 35.47. Call that whole area 35.50 on a bounce. I'd look for resistance there.
Yahoo just crossing the tape here, and
Yahoo!
it's trading up, reinstated with a buy at Goldman. So stock, when Goldman speaks, they do respond. 15.92 is where it's trading after closing at 15.61. This whole, we've talked about this area in the past, this whole 1625 to 1650 area has been major resistance for the better part of the last 6 months. If it starts to go up and get into that area, I've got to think it's going to get resistance there again.
Yeah, this thing has just been bouncing around for quite a while between 14.60 and 16 and a quarter.
Getting to the top end of that range, too.
Yeah, 16.35 was a high on June 26. Goldman, does carry a big stick on the street. Looks like we're going to cut through these highs. Not quite yet at around the $16 level. But if this thing does pop over 16, runs a 16.10, 16.20, then comes back down under 16, I wouldn't be too happy if it got above it, then somehow dip below it.
I think there's sellers all over the place. I think this is a nice setup. You get a little follow through in this, a little through on the market, shake some people out that are shorting ahead of 16. I like this. I like that. I like the 1625 to 1635 area. If it gets up there, there might be a decent opportunity to try a short on it. Above 16.5 is where I'd probably stick my out. PPHM in the news here again. This stock, obviously, they had the bad news with their bavituximab lung cancer drug trials, which didn't work out a few days ago. Now they're saying they're going to be in a cash crunch, looking like they're going to only have enough cash to get to April 2013. So they're either going to need a cash infusion or they're going to need this drug to start working out in a hurry because that's not a lot of time to be running out of cash. So you're looking, and that's why the stock is trading down here another 30 cents at $1.36 this morning.
Yeah, I mean, what more, what I could tell our investors that if you buy this, the most you can lose is $1.36. Yep. And if you get a pop, if any kind of news comes out on this, really not much resistance in this thing in the pre-market here. Seem to be some sellers at 140, but, once things open, who knows where this thing's going.
Yeah, it can really go anywhere. I mean, it bottomed there nicely in that 80-cent area, and it doubled in 2 days. So if you picked it up at 80, you did really well. Hard to short the thing. They were saying actually with the trials that they weren't done that well either. Like the way the trial was done, there wasn't a lot of subjects and. I don't know a hell of a lot about the pharmaceutical sector and how it's done, but they were challenging whether the trials were even done correctly. So maybe the drug's still good, maybe it's not, but running out of cash is never a good thing, so they're going to need some type of cash infusion, or the stock could get ugly here. Just going back to the overall market here before we close up, we did have GDP knocking a little bit off the market. We were up 7, now we're only up 5 after the GDP report. 1432 we're trading here. Obviously we need to hold yesterday's low there, which is in the 1425 area. What's your take?
We nestled right into Wednesday's intraday high. Folks, I like to keep the high on the intraday as well as the Globex session. So you basically have 2 highs for the day. Yesterday's high, 35.75. We got up to 35 and a quarter this morning's rally. That is going to be a key area. Things open up there until Wednesday's Globex high of 1439.75. And really coming back on the downside, Dennis, since we've traded so high, you got to believe that close of 1427, which was only 3 points away from yesterday's low, should be good support.
Well, that's our show for today, and have a good trading day, and we'll be back with you guys tomorrow.